So, in some more government scummy news, this might be one of the worst things that the government has done to the NHS outside of underfunding it, to be honest, which is not just to leave them underprepared, but also tell them you can't tell anyone that this is happening. And, interestingly, Rob has an signed an NDA. The woman had to sign a non-disclosure agreement against Dominic Raab. So the government has form when it comes to NDAs. That might be a low blow on Rob, actually. Who cares? He's a big boy. He can handle it. So NHS staff gagged over coronavirus shortages. So if we look here, doctors across the front lines extremely concerned about personal protective equipment, PPE. Many have told us they've tried to raise concerns through the proper channels, but have warned against taking these concerns further, says Dr. Samantha Roden, the DA UK's president. At the time, we desperately need every single doctor on the front line. So if I look for the specific bit, ticking off. There it is. So doctors being used to deter staff from voicing their unease include threatening emails, the possibility of disciplinary action, and in 2 cases being sent home from work. So you've essentially sent medical professionals who may have been working with corona patients, helping them get treatment and stuff. You've sent them home because they've complained about a lack of personal protective equipment. So instead of actually dealing with the issue, you've spent time out of your day, you as a manager or as a higher up have took time out of your day instead of sourcing equipment, bugging the government, or going on TV yourself to say that this is the situation. You've gone out of your day to go after NHS staff to say shut up, or you're going to get told off, or you're going to be fired. And I reckon what they'll do, they're not going to fire them now because that's going to look proper shambolic. If you fire a doctor or a nurse during this pandemic, what they do is they do it after. They do it after they say, look, something else may happen, or they might just say, look, we're letting you go, and we're not going to say why, but I reckon that's what happened. It's going to be some vengeance taken out on these people who just want the basics, who just want protective equipment so they don't get sick whilst they're looking after other sick people. It's insane. And look, if we look here, government PPE includes gowns and masks running out, admits UK government. So the government's admitting that they're running out. So this is from they managed to get this in an update. The government accepted some personal responsibility in PPE is in short supply and promised that a large consignment, including 400,000 gowns, is due to arrive from Turkey on Sunday. That's I think that's arrived today, which is Wednesday. Yes. So on Saturday, unions and professional bodies say the NHS staff may refuse to work if there's not enough protective equipment to ensure their safety. I don't blame them. It's not their fault. The NHS using about 150,000 gowns a day. So these 400,000 gowns will last not even 3 days. So it's not enough, clearly. And so speaking at the government press conference, Robert Jenrick, the Housing and Communities Secretary, said more is needed to be done to get protective equipment to the front lines. He said 84 tons of PPE was due to arrive in the next 24 hours. They acknowledge that demand is seriously high. I wonder why demand is so high. Is because you didn't prepare. If you don't prepare to succeed, you prepare to fail. And boy, did you prepare to fail. And you're costing lives, son. You are costing lives, boy. And look, if we look here, UK deaths 18,000. I don't know if these are accurate of today. Yeah, they are. Surprising. The Guardian must update these numbers. So what else do we know? That the NHS staff told to wear aprons as protective gowns run out. So they have to wear plastic aprons, essentially because they've run out of gowns, proper protective equipment. They've run out, and so they've been forced to wear essentially the BTEC equipment. And so this is what has come to in the so-called one of the great countries of the world, where we're struggling to actually supply medical equipment to our professionals. The government have failed. If you watch my previous video, which I'll link in the description, the government failed multiple times to actually source the equipment for people. They failed multiple times to source equipment within the UK itself. When they talk about a global shortage, that's okay, that's one thing. But when there's manufacturers and warehouses that are stocked with PPE within the UK and you fail to get that stuff because you've taken too long, that's gross negligence or incompetence. And if it's incompetence, you need to go get someone else who's smarter than you. If it's negligence, then they should file criminal charges. If you knew better and you still allowed it to happen, then that's worse. That's worse than being incompetent. You can only get so mad at someone being stupid. but you can get more angry at someone who should have known better. And yeah, so what we can see here is not only do they not have enough protective equipment, the government is saying stop talking to the press. You're going to get told off. Where do you think these sort of tactics and things are told? But these sorts of tactics used by managers and higher ups within the NHS are told directly from the government. Why else would they do this? Because the lack of PPE doesn't embarrass the NHS. It's not their responsibility. It embarrasses the government. The government said, look, you need to shut this down, stop people talking about this. But because of the situation being so dire, I think they would happily risk their job, being a nurse or a doctor, despite all the training they've given and all the debt they've accrued, because you're sending them potentially to become ill, to reduce many years of their life expectancy, or to die. We've seen that I think it's about 59 members of the NHS have died because of the coronavirus, and I wonder how many of those could have been avoided if they were given enough protective equipment. And I hope there's a public inquiry into this. But the fact that NHS staff are being gagged, the government will say it's not to, so it doesn't create a panic, but really you're just trying to save yourself. But yeah, I'll leave the video here, and yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole thing, about gagging orders and also the lack of PPE. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, hopefully.